Today, let's slow down, take a deep breath, and get crystal clear, because every January, the same wave of confusing posts, forwarded messages, and dramatic breaking news clips starts circulating, claiming that Social Security payment dates are changing, and that's enough to make anyone anxious. When your Social Security check is what keeps the lights on, puts food in the fridge, pays for gas to get to medical appointments, or covers prescriptions, uncertainty like this feels intensely personal and, frankly, scary. In this video, we are going to do exactly the opposite of what the rumor mill does. We're going to speak plainly, break things down step by step, and give you a simple framework for understanding January deposits, so that whether you receive Social Security retirement, SSI, Supplemental Security Income, SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, or survivor benefits, you can plan confidently and calmly. You deserve straightforward information, not panic, and that's exactly what we'll give you. Here's the main point up front. In most cases, nothing is being cut, nothing is being withheld, and nothing is being stopped. What usually changes is simply the day the money arrives in your account. The Social Security payment system follows a published calendar, and January is packed with weekends and federal holidays, which can push certain deposits forward or back by a day or two. The amount you're owed generally stays the same, your eligibility generally stays the same, and the system does not randomly rewrite the rules overnight. The only thing creating confusion is the calendar itself, and that's what we're going to decode for you step by step so that by the end, you can look at any January schedule and immediately know what's normal and what might require attention. First, let's understand how most Social Security retirement and survivor benefits are scheduled during the year. For the majority of people who began receiving benefits after May 1997, the payment date is tied to the beneficiary's birth date and usually falls on a Wednesday. If you were born between the 1st and 10th of the month, your payment typically arrives on the 2nd Wednesday. If your birthday falls between the 11th and 20th, your payment usually comes on the 3rd Wednesday. And if you were born between the 21st and 31st, you're generally scheduled for the 4th Wednesday. This system stays consistent month after month, which is why people immediately notice when January looks different. But here's the crucial piece. Different doesn't automatically mean wrong. Exceptions exist, and these exceptions are exactly where rumors and panic tend to flourish. One major exception is SSI, or Supplemental Security Income, which follows its own schedule entirely separate from the Wednesday birth date rule. SSI is typically paid on the first day of the month, but with a very specific and important protection built in. If the first falls on a weekend or federal holiday, the payment is issued on the last business day before that. This ensures recipients aren't forced to wait for essential funds. January is often the month where this rule comes into play because New Year's Day is a federal holiday and lands right at the start of the month. Depending on the calendar, January 1st can be a holiday, a weekend, or fall near another holiday, and any of these scenarios can trigger the last business day before rule for SSI. When that happens, many SSI recipients may see their January payment arrive as early as December 31st, and this is often the starting point of confusion. People look at their bank account, see the deposit, and wonder, did I get paid twice? Was my January payment moved? Am I missing money? The answer, clearly and simply, is no. The early deposit is still the January payment. It's not an extra check, not a bonus, and nothing has been taken away. The system is simply delivering the monthly benefit on the nearest business day to protect recipients from waiting unnecessarily. The practical effect of this timing can, however, create a budgeting trap. If you see money arrive on December 31st and treat it as extra holiday cash, January suddenly feels like an unusually long month because that money is meant to cover January expenses. One of the smartest, simplest ways to handle this is to mentally label the deposit immediately as January's money. Treat it as if it arrived on January 1st for budgeting purposes, and you will remove most of the stress before it even starts. January confusion doesn't stop with SSI. Another reason seniors pay close attention to deposits is the annual cost of living adjustment, or COLA, which usually takes effect with January benefits. People naturally check their accounts more closely when an increase is expected, and if the deposit date shifts due to holiday timing, it can look like something went wrong. In reality, the COLA increase is almost always included as expected, and the apparent change in deposit date is purely calendar-related. Always focus on the benefit amount and any deductions, rather than assuming a shifted date signals a problem. SSDI, or Social Security Disability Insurance, adds another layer of complexity in January. Generally, SSDI follows the same Wednesday schedule as retirement benefits, based on birth date, unless the recipient also receives SSI. That "unless" is key, because people who receive both SSI and SSDI can experience two deposits that follow two separate timing rules. SSI at the beginning of the month or earlier due to the holiday rule, and SSDI later in the month on the Wednesday schedule. To the untrained eye, this can look confusing, but it is entirely normal. Two programs, two schedules, one calendar, and nothing has changed with eligibility or benefits. Bank processing times are another source of perceived inconsistency. Even when Social Security releases payments on the correct schedule, banks and credit unions do not always post them the same way. Some post a day early, some at midnight, some later in the morning, and some take longer during high-volume periods or around holidays. This means one person might see a deposit on Tuesday while another sees it Wednesday, even when both are on the same official schedule. Around New Year's, bank schedules amplify these small differences, creating the illusion of randomness. Social Security does not randomly change payment dates. The calendar is published well in advance, and the system operates on established rules. What makes January appear unusual is simply how weekends and federal holidays align at the start of the year. When those calendar conditions change, deposit days shift, but the underlying system remains consistent. Medicare premium deductions add yet another layer. Many beneficiaries have premiums deducted directly from Social Security payments, and January is a common time for updated Medicare costs or other annual adjustments. If your net deposit looks different from December, it may be because a deduction changed, not because a benefit was cut or delayed. So when you add together timing shifts, COLA increases, and deduction updates, January naturally attracts scrutiny, but confusion does not indicate an error. Let's make this practical. To stay calm and organized in January, start with mindset and labeling. Treat early deposits as covering the month they are intended for, not as extras. Next, review your expenses ahead of time. Make a list of essentials like rent or mortgage, utilities, insurance, groceries, transportation, prescriptions, and medical copays. Planning ahead helps spread the money evenly over the month. If early deposits make you nervous, set aside part of the payment immediately in a separate account or a simple envelope system to prevent accidental overspending. Watch for official notices from Social Security, which always carry more weight than social media, forwarded messages, or neighborhood rumors. Recognize the patterns of misinformation. Every January, claims that payments are delayed, canceled, or reduced will circulate, often attached to politics, sensational headlines, or simple calendar misunderstandings. Pause, verify, and remember that date shifts are usually calendar-related. If a payment truly does not arrive, Social Security advises waiting at least 3 business days after the scheduled date before reporting it. This window allows for normal bank processing delays, particularly around holidays, and prevents unnecessary panic. If it still hasn't posted after that period, contact Social Security directly with your Social Security number, identification, and recent payment history to resolve issues faster. Many payment problems are administrative and correctable. It's also a good time to confirm that your direct deposit information is up to date, especially if you change banks or account numbers. Communication is key. If you have a spouse,